So Sam Bankman-Fried, I'm not going to get too much into it. He got arrested yesterday in the Bahamas, and he is now in custody, which I will say it was one of those things. Nobody thought he was going to get arrested, did we? We thought he was just going to get off scot-free. It was one of those things where he donated all this money to politicians, and everybody's very jaded, and they said, you know what? He's going to get away, but I guess these things take a long time to manifest themselves. I was watching an interview or a YouTube video that Martin Shkreli was talking about this whole thing. And he said, the government has up to 5 years to charge him. And in Martin Shkreli's case, they took almost 5 years. Right. So he's like, this could take a long time, but it didn't. It did not. They arrested him in the Bahamas. He's now in, and honestly, I detach myself from this whole thing. I try to as much because obviously I guess I am one of his victims. I guess I don't know. Technically, I am one of the victims of FTX. It sucks. Shit happens. I have no choice but to move on with my life. But I guess it's like one of those kind of Shakespearean tales where it's just amazing how quickly your life can change. I've done too many psychedelic drugs in my life. I don't know. But that's all I could take away from this. He went from yesterday, 2 days ago, or even yesterday, occupying a $40 million penthouse condo in Nassau, Bahamas. By the way, I bet he's fucking regretting moving all that shit to the Bahamas right now because that was his big thing. He goes, we're going to go to the Bahamas. It's, not a lot of regulation and we can run our business and it's close to America. And now he is currently sitting in one of the worst prisons in the world. It's called the Fox Hill Prison. It's the only prison in the Bahamas. And I read an interview with someone who had been in it, and they're like, and again, I've never been in a prison. I don't know, but I'm sure as far as prison goes, there's a lot of American prisons that are pretty cushy. And then once you start getting into the second and third world, you start losing these cushy prisons. They probably they don't exist because the true elites in these third world countries, they don't go to prison, right? It's not on the table. When you live in, or at least your elites, like I'm sure the elites of the Bahamas probably, I don't know, they just don't, they stay out of prison, or maybe they do, I don't know. But I know that's a common theme in a lot of, failed states. Not that the Bahamas is that. But anyways, he is now in, they denied his bail today, and he is in one of the worst prisons on earth. Having been, I don't know, a month ago, maybe a little more than a month ago, on top of the world. And I think Andrew Tate said this, actually, where he, not specifically, but he's like, never trust these rich people who are not spending all their money. But like, so he stole all this money. He's like, he doesn't even have anything to show for it. It's like, he wasn't balling, like nothing. He just is nothing. He just gambled it. I guess he just gambled it all away. He blew it. I can't tell if it's one of these scenarios. My guess is, there's one of these scenarios where he made some mistakes, he fucked up, and then he just tried to make it right. That's all he did, right? Is he just tried to cover his mistakes, and he just was not able to do it. He done fucked up. Real bad, and that's it. And then he just kept making mistake after mistake, compounding it, and then now he's super fucked. He is super fucked. It's so crazy too. Like, I don't think he must now understand like what's the real serious, because he's been on these Twitter spaces, he's been giving all these interviews, gave that like New York Times interview. People were laughing, they applauded for him. When he's like, I fucked up, everybody's like, this guy's hilarious, right? He actually said, so he had a hearing today in the Bahamas, and in it, he told the chief magistrate, Joanne Ferguson Pratt, that he couldn't go to jail because he's a vegan and depressed. Yeah, that sucks. I don't imagine there are going to be a lot of good vegan options at Fox Hill Prison. And it's weird because, for someone like that, I don't know what the move is. Like, is he on suicide watch? That's got to be on the table. You got to be thinking suicide must be on the table. Like, when you look at I guess he'll be extradited to the U.S. He just has to get through to his extradition, although some people were saying he's going to fight extradition, which makes no sense. But maybe he has some sort of grand scheme. He is being represented by Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney. I did see that. He says, he maintains that he did nothing wrong. He was going to tell. This is another thing too. He's very still delusional. It's I guess it's very common with certain people where they can never admit it. You're caught so red-handed, and they die with the lie. You see it with murderers and stuff where they cannot admit it. They just cannot say it out loud. They'll be on literally needle in their arm, about to get the death penalty, about to get executed. Sorry, and they can't admit it. They just refuse. They refuse to admit it. So he's still saying, he said this today. He said that he did nothing of the sort, and he was going to tell Congress today, because he was supposed to have a congressional hearing today, that he could repay all the people who lost money tomorrow if his assets were unfrozen, despite previously filing for bankruptcy. So he keeps continuing on with this lie where he says, look, if we could just open my accounts back up, I could give everybody these FTT tokens and we'll all be whole. Let me just see. Let me just check out a live quote for FTT. So they were at, when all this shit went down, about 28. Is it even a thing anymore? Does it even exist? Who is buying these? So the current price is $1.38. They were at about $28, I believe, what fucking degenerate is buying FTT tokens right now? Or maybe it's the greatest, I don't know. You ain't going to see me buying fucking any of that shit. And I did own some. Funny enough, I did, because I had an FTX account and I owned some FTT tokens. I was very bullish on FTX. Boy, is there egg on my face. I have group chats with some people where I go, man, FTX cannot be stopped, huh? What a great company FTX was. But he's delusional. He's just like, look, if we could just hop in a time machine, like all these assets were in these just fake coins that are not worth anything. Like, the only reason FTT would be worth anything is if you thought FTX wasn't a complete Ponzi scheme, which it is. So, anyways, it's just insane to watch the fall. I guess that's all I can say is, part of me, as someone who, should be happy to watch it, there's still a portion of me that I see that and I go, fuck, that must suck so badly. Not to excuse him, because I guarantee you there are people who have killed themselves because of what he did. So, he definitely deserves to be punished, but to just see the way fortunes can change in life. I mean, myself included, not to that degree, Someone to have been on paper worth $30 billion 45 days ago. He was legitimately worth $30 billion 45 days ago. He's now occupying an 80-foot cell with probably like 2 other people. From the video I watched, you got to shit in a bucket. They don't even have, like, you watch those prison shows, and those prison shows, like, yeah, you got a toilet in your cell, and you got to maybe shit in front of another dude, but it's like, you still have a toilet. He's shitting in a bucket. He had $30 billion 45 days ago, and he's now shitting in a bucket. I don't know why I can't get over that. I mean, I guess he'll be shitting in a American prison toilet. And who knows? Maybe the joke's on me. Maybe he sticks this out for 2 months. You know, he sticks this out. Apparently, the one thing I will say is someone who was in that prison is like, you can get every drug in there. So that's something. But you got to shit in a bucket. And there's maggots in all the food because they get left out. It's hot there, right? It's the Bahamas. But man, this is... Someone says, is SBF the ultimate low-value mail? No, I don't think so. That's not low-value mail. It's low value, what he did, but fuck, man, he's like a case study for just... I don't even know. I'm done talking about it. It's just wild to watch. It is a epic fall from grace, if you will.